So in this lesson, we're going to talk about positive teamworking. So positive teamworking is actually a new and effective trend in the United States as well as around the world. So we're going to be taking a look at a book where profit from the positive is actually tapping into making corporations and teams be more profitable by making sure that the employees and the corporation is actually operating with more strategies from positive psychology. So let's take a look at what this whole new strategy is about. We're talking about engaging employees. Now, engaging employees is bringing out the best versus getting the most out of them. So what we want to do is get out the best strengths in an employee as opposed to just trying to get as much productivity out of them. I'll explain the difference. Now, to get peak performance, I don't mean just people doing well, but being amazing at work. We have to identify, cultivate, and use their strengths every single day. And a lot of managers on teams, we don't know what those strengths are. So if you improve productivity using a strength-based approach, you're going to get more energy produced in the work environment. Now, employees want to do their very best, and they will go the extra mile to accomplish that if they're able to use their strengths on the job. But what are their strengths, and how do you know how to identify them? Simply go to a website called viacharacter.org. This is actually created by the University of Pennsylvania, their positive psychology department. It's in Chinese, it's in English, it's translated into many languages, and you just take the free survey to find out which of the top strengths you have for each individual and in your organization, and I'll show you in this module how to use them. Now, most businesses that we're familiar with have focused on what we call progressive discipline, which is we leave people alone, but we look at them to see what they're doing wrong. So our focus is what are they doing wrong, not what they're doing right. And then if we find that they're doing something wrong, we punish them. We say, hey, you're doing something wrong. Then we give them verbal warnings. If you keep doing that, you can't work here, or you're not going to have vacation. And then eventually it gets up to written warnings, and maybe we fire those people. But look at what we're doing. We're focused on the negative. We're not focused on the positive. Now, we can also forget about those employee satisfaction surveys. This is where we wanted to know, hey, are you happy working here? Well, those surveys were meant to measure how happy employees were with the cafeteria food, managers like yourself, are the chairs comfortable? Well, we thought that was a good idea, but it turns out that there is a missing part, that the link between enjoying one's job and the company's profitability, we weren't matching that. We actually weren't finding that. So employee surveys, don't need to do those anymore. We're going to do another kind. What we want to do now is focus on employee engagement. Now, this is basically how involved, enthusiastic, and attached are employees to their work, their colleagues, and the company. Take a look at this poll by Gallup Corporation. This is looking at 17 million people. That companies that had higher employee engagement achieved better outcomes. There was 37% less absenteeism, 37% people less left the job. Now, it's really expensive to train people, so imagine if that expense goes down by 37%. That's a big number. There were 48% fewer safety incidents. Why? Because people were paying attention to their job. There were 41% fewer product defects. Why? Because people took pride in what they were doing. There was 21% higher productivity. Why? Because they liked the work that they were doing. And there was 22% higher profitability. Why? Because if people do a better job, the owners of those companies make more money. Now, this is what engagement looks like. They're enthusiastic, they're inquisitive, they like learning new things. That's a really different person than someone who you can easily see who is just getting by at the office, just doing enough work not to get fired. So you can tell who wants to be there and who doesn't. We only want people who are engaged at the organization. Now, again, to take a look at this Gallup survey of 17 million people, 29% of people were actively engaged at the workplace. This is loyal, psychologically committed, more productive, and they stay at the job longer. 52% are not engaged, where they're productive, but they're not psychologically connected to the company. They miss more work days. They're more likely to leave. They're basically like when you ask them, hey, what's it like to work at this place? It's okay. I don't love it. I'm not running to work. I don't want to work early, but I'm not looking for another job. That's over half. 19% actively disengaged. They're physically present but psychologically absent. They're unhappy and they insist on sharing this unhappiness with others. You're the pessimist. These people are awful. You do not want them in the organization. So when you take a look at this, look how much opportunity there is. Only 29% of employees are actively engaged. That number, imagine if it was 100, that's a lot more profit. So there's a lot of room to make a lot more money using this strategy. Employees who have the opportunity to focus on their strengths every day are 6 times more likely to be engaged at work. They're 3 times more likely to report having an excellent quality of life. And when you think about it, half of your waking day is working. So make it good. So you as a manager and you as an employee as well can ask yourself, am I one of these happy, engaged people? If not, where are you on the boat? Are you on the boat that's in the half that's like, or I'm looking for another job? We need everyone engaged. And this lesson is going to show you how to do it. So how do you get engagement? We need to help the employees discover and apply their strengths. A lot of people don't know what their strengths are. The benefits of focusing on strengths is you have increased sales as well as improved customer service. A study of 300,000 employees at 51 companies allowed their employees to apply their top strengths. And here's what they discovered. Sales went up, more productivity, improved customer service at all 300,000 employees. Also, 44% had higher employee retention, 44% higher customer loyalty. So the customers notice when they have great employees. Now, here's some engagement effect on key business outcome. Absenteeism dropped 41%. People leaving the organization, the high turnover, fell 24%. Turnover on low turnover organizational fell 59%. Shrinkage dropped by 28%. Safety incidents dropped by 70%. Patient safety incidents in hospitals dropped 58%. Quality defects dropped 40%. Customer metrics went up by 10%. Productivity up 17%. Sales up 20%. And profitability up 21%. Every single measure is for the better. Now, take a look at this employee survey, and if you're a manager, ask yourself if this is what your employees would say about you. My manager matches my talents to the tasks that need to be accomplished. My manager encourages high performance on building my strengths. If they say yes to this, then you're going to be having high productivity. If not, you as a manager need to be changing how you're engaging your employees and making sure that they say yes to these questions. Managers who scored in the top 25% of the employee survey, they had 50% more successful projects with managers who focused on team strengths. So you as a manager, you would be focusing on strengths. So here is the manager's job. Introduce strengths identification to the team, and you do it with viacharacter.org. You could also use it with StrengthsFinders 2.0. I like viacharacter.org better because it's more international. It also has multiple languages, and it's free, and you can see all of your strengths. Another way to accomplish this goal is what we call job crafting. Now, job crafting is where you align the employee's strengths to the jobs that you ask them to perform. So if you have a team of 10 people and you have 10 different jobs, make sure that the job that you have people are doing, that they're best equipped to do each job and they enjoy doing them. We don't just want to put anyone in and not really care whether they enjoy it or not. They need to enjoy what they're doing. Now, the more you apply what you're naturally good at, your strengths, the happier, more fulfilled, and more productive you will be. Also, you as a manager, you have less work to do telling people that they need to be corrected and that they need to do a better job. You end up having less work to do because people love their job. So here's how you can do a job crafting interview. This is where you would sit down with your team or with them individually and ask them the following 5 questions. Tell me the kind of work that really energizes you, work that you can't wait to dive into. Tell me the kind of work that drains you, what really makes you tired and just makes the day just drag on all day. How could you use your strengths in a new way at work? This is where you're starting to tap into them telling you strengths that you don't even know they have, interests of where they could help the corporation and you don't even know that they're there. Number 4 is name one task or activity that you don't like to do. This is important. We need to know what they don't like so that we don't give it to them. How could you use one or more of your strengths to increase your enjoyment of this task? Is there someone else on the team who might enjoy this task more? If not, should we consider rotating this task so that no one person gets stuck with it? And then last, what's the smallest possible change you could make that could have the biggest positive impact on your work? So do this interview for all of your employees, and this is going to give you insights on how people should be reassigned. Now, before we get to the 20-minute homework, I want to talk to you about a case study. And this is just the difference of what you can expect. So this is actually a true story, and it's with 2 janitors that worked at a hospital in the United States. Now, one janitor was actively disengaged at his work. He barely did what he was supposed to do. But he showed up at 9 a.m. when he was supposed to. He did the assignments that he was told to do grudgingly, and then he left at 5 o'clock. Now, there was another janitor who came in early, left late, did high quality work, amazing. Patients knew him, patients loved him. He went the extra mile. And the example of what he would do is, for example, if there was a waiting room where he needed to clean that waiting room at that particular time of day, but people were using the waiting room, perhaps they were crying, they were mourning that someone had died, one of the patients. Well, he gave them their privacy, and he came back and changed the schedule so that he wouldn't interrupt them with the vacuum cleaner or the mop. He respected their dignity and privacy. Also, when he went to the unit of the hospital where people were paraplegics, they weren't able to walk, these people lie in bed all day. He would change the photo that was on the wall every day so that the paraplegics could see that they're actually making some progress, that time was progressing. He sometimes would find out when visitors were coming to visit patients, and he would make sure that the rooms were freshly cleaned before the patients came. And administrators asked him, why do you do such extra work when we don't pay you for that? And here's what he said: I'm important. I am a healthcare provider. I'm as important as the doctors here or the nurses here, because part of your care is everything that we do here. That includes having a clean room, clean windows that you can look out of, that you have pride when people come to visit you, that the room is clean and you're not complaining that it's a dirty place. So it's actually important that not only I do my work, but what I do is actually part of the team mission, the team culture, but also I'm a helper. I like to help people in my own way. I'm not a surgeon. I don't know how to be a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I don't know how to do that, but I want to help the patients the best way I can, and making sure that they're comfortable while they're in the hospital and having a clean, pleasant experience that increases their mood. I believe they get better faster because of me. So I'm actually part of the healthcare solution. Now that's called job crafting. And it's your job as a manager to sit down with each person and say, okay, you're coming in here 9 to 5. What would make you really excited about coming in early? What would make you excited about staying late? What about what we do as a company would make you really energized? What strengths do you have that you could bring to the organization? So job crafting is actually incredibly important. And this is where your 20-minute homework comes in. This is actually a lot of fun. It's only in 2 parts. This is going to be about 1 to 2 pages written. I'm very excited to read your papers, actually. So here's the 20-minute homework. List your top 3 strengths that you'd like to use more at work. So whatever you think you're really good at. I'm good at listening, I'm good at being creative, I'm good with technology, whatever you think it is. And then pick 2 of the following 5 questions and write a brief essay on them. So the first one is, and again, now you're going to be the employee, what kind of work really energizes you? What kind of work really drains you? How could you use your strengths in a new way at work? Name one task or activity that you don't like to do. How could you use one or more of your strengths to increase your enjoyment of this task? And what's the smallest change you could make that could have the biggest impact on your work? Now, What I'm going to share with you is how I would do this homework. So I've been teaching at Harvard University for 10 years, and this is information that we didn't have 10 years ago. This is actually new. So what would I say are my top three strengths that I would like to bring to work? I would say creativity, fun, and humor. Now, why would I want to do that? This is Harvard. It's a very serious place. It's one of the smartest university in the world. Because I know that when people are in a good mood and they're happy, they learn more, they remember more. So if I can make you learn better, because that's my job as a teacher, by bringing in humor and fun and creativity, then I'm actually a better instructor. So I want to bring those strengths into academia because academia is pretty serious, and I don't think it needs to be for you to learn. I think you could actually learn better by having some fun. So let me pick two of the following questions. What kind of work really energizes you? I really like work that has a lot of variety, where I get to meet a lot of different people and I get to learn things myself as well as reteach them to people and make the world move forward in a positive way. So I like new things, I like positive things, and I like moving forward. Number two, what kind of work really drains you? I would say doing the same thing over and over again, that's boring. I always like to teach different classes, which is why I enjoy teaching this class because it's new. How could you use your strengths in a new way at work? I'm actually doing that. I'm not able to travel to China because of COVID right now, and so now I'm recording these videos, and we're meeting through Zoom. Everyone's meeting through Zoom now, and so I'm actually using my strengths of having run a television show several years ago in Boston, and now I can actually teach in China, but I'm not leaving my home. So that's how I'm using my strength right now. Let's keep going. Number four, name one task or activity that you don't like to do. How could you use one or more of your strengths to increase your enjoyment of this task? I don't like deadlines, so that's something that I really don't like to do. However, I could make it a game that I would finish early, and if I finish early, I can take myself out to dinner. So that's something that pops up in my head. Number five, what's the smallest change you could make that could have the biggest positive impact on your work? I would probably say recording my lectures like I'm doing now so that even classes beyond this would be able to learn this same lesson without me actually doing the same lecture over and over again, so that now I could learn new things and share with you new items that I learn going into the future. So I would say by having a library of videotapes of my lectures that people could refer to over the years would probably be it. So you can see the homework really takes probably less than 20 minutes, but it's actually fun and insightful. It can give you some ideas of how you can actually be a better employee. But then in our future lessons, you're going to be seeing how you can engage your own employees to get them to teach you how they could craft their own job so that now you can get better productivity by knowing more about your people and knowing what their strengths are and making that to be a benefit for more money for the corporation. So I'll see you at the next lesson. Bye-bye.